In Mass Effect Andromeda, the very first new race you encounter are the Kett. As soon as you land on the paradise of Habitat 7, you see them about to help your teammate getting rid of his pesky problem of living. Jokes aside, the Kett are obviously a quite hostile race, considering they follow the motto shoot first, ask questions later, as shown by the fact you get shot at when you step closer than about 20 meters. So either they really need their personal space, or they hate you because they're simply racist. Biology. After you shoot them to bits and scan them, you find out that their armor is actually made of bones on a quite sturdy skeleton. They have pale eyes that are white and receded with blood that is brownish green. From what we've seen so far, they reproduce solely through a process called exaltation, where they inject genetic material into another being which rapidly turns them into Kett themselves. Speculating suggests that they came up with this method when their own genetics reached an end of evolving, so they started to ingest genes from other races in order to enhance their own. Exaltation allows them to quickly regrow or expand their armies by simply capturing enemies and turning them into obedient Kett within hours. History. Not much is known about the history of the Kett. Their homeworld Sarhessen was united through exaltation, and after that was done they sought to bring this gift, which is considered sacred to them, to other worlds as well, expanding the Kett Empire. What we do know is that they, same as us, are not native to the Helios cluster. Their invasion began some time after the Scourge was let loose in Helios and a few decades before the arrival of Hyperion. When the Angara first encountered them, the Kett tricked them into trusting them by bringing gifts and offering their friendship. They then proceeded to capture the leadership, which after many arguments led to the defeat of the unorganized Angara. Culture. They are a highly militaristic race, much like the Turians. Hierarchy is strict in their culture, and they consider other races lesser beings, shown by experimenting on captives and shooting everything that is different on sight. When they look at other races, all they see is genetic material able to enhance their own, and if it isn't, they have no use for it and simply get rid of them, as shown by the unfortunate Salarians that were on the Archon's ship. The Kett language is called something I refuse to pronounce. Hierarchy and government. From the game itself, we learn that the Kett government is referred to as the Empire. Their main ruling power is the Senate, who is located on their homeworld. They send out contingents of Kett to other clusters who are led by an Archon, which leads to the conclusion that the one we meet is not the only one. He's simply the one we had the displeasure of meeting. The local Archons have a great deal of autonomy, but ultimately still answer to the Senate, as shown by the fact that the Primus himself tells the Archon that questions from high up are asked about his intentions about the remnants. Later on, this leads to the quest dissension in the ranks, where that same Primus helps us take down the Archon if we agree to it, in order to get rid of the Archon who has clearly strayed from the goal the Senate set him out to accomplish. From what we've seen, there is enough information to set up a sort of chain of command. Low to high it goes like this. First is the Senate, the ruling body of the Kett. Second comes the local Archon, leader of an army of Kett in a specific cluster. Third, the Primus, assumed to be the Archon's second in command, who is also a prefect. Fourth are the prefects, commanders of a specific planet appointed by the Archon, most likely. Fifth are the destined, squad leaders able to cloak, presumably ancestral Kett exalted from a species beyond the Helios cluster. Sixth are the anointed, shock troopers with barriers and plasma miniguns exalted from the Angara. Seventh are the chosen, the standard ground troops and cannon fodder who are also made from Angara. Eighth are the wraiths, dog-like creatures that are able to cloak, exalted from Chalrion. There are also fiends, yet I don't know where they are placed within the chain, as it seems likely they are pure brutes bred for the purpose of killing and seem unable to think logically. Technology. From what we were shown, the Kett seem to have technology that is comparable to that of the Initiative, yet nothing comes close to their mastery of bio and medical technology. They put bioengineered parts in all of their machines and have a unique style of architecture. As soon as you see that dark green and rounded-ish metal, you know that it was built by Kett. Instead of conventional research, though, they take traits from other species and implement them into their own, as seen that soon after the Initiative arrived, they began weaving them into theirs. Kett ships use FTL drives that are radically different in design to ours. While they function almost the same as ours, at least while traveling across smaller regions like the Helios cluster, they have a unique way of operating while traveling over long distances. It is similar to having an onboard mass relay, yet an extremely inefficient one. Religion. As shown on Volt, the Kett revere exaltation as a sacred ritual where hundreds of Kett observe those to be exalted. They believe that those who are the so-called chosen are ascending to greatness, while helping the Kett do the same. As the name implies, they turn to the chosen we know as the troops directly after the exaltation and may later advance to higher ranks such as the anointed. The temple where they execute the exaltation on the planet is considered holy grounds for them. Future. This leads us with the future plans of the Kett now that their Archon is dead. I doubt that the Senate will simply accept this loss, as shown at the very end of Andromeda, where you see another Kett, maybe even a member of the Senate, staring grimly into the galaxy. My prediction is that the Senate will send another, perhaps larger, army to the Helios cluster, or we might bring the war to the Kett ourselves. The latter being rather unlikely though, considering that the point of the initiative was to find a new home, which was achieved by settling rather spectacularly on Meridian. So it is improbable that they will want to go to war with a species that has been defeated. We have to remember that while we know there are more Kett, like our Mr. Grimm here, Ryder and his crew so far know nothing about the fact that someone has been watching. My prediction is that either in a DLC or a sequel, it will be our job to rally everyone to fight the invading Kett once more and push them back to their homeworld before taking care of that as well. Yet this is BioWare, so while the first half might be a requirement, it could be that by pushing them back to their own home, they will see that the humans, Turians, Krogan, Asari and all other races soon to come are not, like they think, lesser beings. So perhaps they might surrender or offer us peace. Or maybe not and we kill all of them. Also possible. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more Andromeda videos or follow me on Twitter, link also down below.